Welcome back, everyone. Today I'll be explaining an extremely good idea against the Caro-Kann. And here against the Caro-Kann, a lot of players playing as white don't really like playing against it. After e4, c6, d4, d5. Now, usually this looks like sort of like a French, except if white plays e5, black is able to get his bishop out freely. And this is something that white doesn't want to allow. In this case, black is understandably, in the long run, a lot easier to play than white is because it's like a French, except black's bishop is out. I'm not saying that white is not better or he doesn't have any winning chances here, but it's just that the Caro-Kann is sometimes extremely annoying. However, there's an extremely easy yet quite deadly weapon against this Caro-Kann defense. So on the first move, d4 should still be played because it's the only move to get a considerable advantage. But after d5, here a lot of players, they don't really take. And taking is the move that I want to recommend today because normally a lot of people after here, most people think that white's going to play the Panov attack, and this line doesn't really offer white anything. However, in this case, white doesn't need to play the Panov. Instead, white should play bishop d3. And this move is a lot better. It's the exchange variation of the Caro-Kann, and this line is extremely hard for black to play against because this now white's whole goal is to get full control over e5 and start pushing his pawns. And how this works is that, for example, if black plays knight c6, which is the most commonly played move, white plays c3, black plays knight f6, and white plays bishop f4. And now white is trying to get as much control he can get for the e5 square as possible. And here the main line is bishop g4. But after bishop g4, queen b3 is an extremely good move. And after queen d7, white plays knight d2. And this line continues going on. But as you can see, white is getting more and more pressure here. And then I've won a lot of times here because black has a hard time with his dart square bishop. A lot of players, after playing bishop d6, which is the best move, they are afraid of losing this pawn. However, this pawn is not really that big of a deal because black can play this and takes on b2. And although white is extremely good here, if white doesn't play precisely, then white wouldn't be good. But however, if black knows what he's doing and plays rook b6, then white does not have any considerable advantage. And because of this, bishop d6 is not that commonly played, yet bishop e7 is not that good of a move because white has this extremely evil trick, knight e5. And it looks like that the knight is attacking the bishop and the queen, but unlike what other people think, the best move here is queen c8. And then white is able to get the bishop here for absolutely nothing. Why does this work? Because after black takes white's knight, white is able to play d takes e5. This attacks the knight, but there's also a hidden threat of bishop b5 and then skewering the queen. I have won many games with this trap already because most people don't play bishop d6, the best move. Instead, they play bishop e7. And bishop e7 is not as good. And if black does play bishop d6, white is recommended not to play bishop d7, but just to castle normally. And a tip here is to never ever play h3, because the bishop on g4 is worse than the bishop on h5, because bishop g6 is always a good move. This bishop wants to be exchanged here. This bishop is not as good as this one, so h3 is never a good move. However, now black is able to castle, and then white should play rook fe1 is the easy line, but I like playing more dynamically with rook ae1, and then black plays rook b8, and then white is able to get in knight to e5. Now black plays bishop e5, and white plays f4, and white is basically playing a no-risk position here. White almost never ever loses this because of his amazing central control, and if you are playing this as white, you get an extremely comfortable position. And other than this, other than bishop g4 being the main line, black sometimes plays e6 immediately. But this is just a lot worse. So if I just promote this line and delete all of this, if you just play e6 normally, it doesn't really do anything because now your bishop is blocked in. So this bishop can never ever be exchanged. And white can just play like how he has ever done normally. And white can always trade and then castle, and then black has to play something like a6, and then white plays knight e5, b5, f4. White is in an extremely comfortable position here. This bishop is extremely bad. And if e6 isn't played, then what else can be played? Well, instead, the best move for black, but a lot of people don't know about this, is playing queen c7 immediately. And this move is a move that guards against bishop f4 immediately, and black wants to take control of this diagonal. However, it is good usually, but as white, I recommend white can just play f4 immediately. The computer doesn't really enjoy this move, but it's extremely hard for black to play, especially if black does not play correctly. Most players here as black will play e6. And after black plays e6, white plays knight f3, and it's back to an extremely comfortable position. And after bishop d6, white can play knight e5 early. And this continuation is good, because after f6, which looks like it's completely winning, but then queen h5 comes in, and then black is lost. However, e6 does not always have to be played. Here, black can play knight f6, which is a slight improvement. And after knight f3, black can play g6. And why is g6 good? Because now black wants to play bishop f5 beforehand. And that might seem a bit counterintuitive, but after bishop f5, this position is extremely good. White should never ever let black get a double f pawn, and basically black is somewhat better here. So if you want to play the best moves here, you can also play a knight ge2, which is the computer's favorite choice, but not mine, because it doesn't really offer white anything. But after knight f6, you could go for bishop f4, and then black will respond with e5. But however, at the end of all of this continuation, white should not knight d4, excuse me. You should castle first. And then after this, white should be practically okay. So if black plays queen c7, then your opponent is most likely prepared. But if black does not play queen c7 and plays knight f6, you can say that you have an extremely comfortable position. So here, after taking on d5 and playing bishop d3, is an extremely solid way to play against the Caro-Kann without much risk. So I hope you enjoy it and have a great day, everyone.